In this video, we are going to be looking at optimum point of consumer. Optimum point of consumer. Optimum point of consumer is a point at which a consumer gets highest satisfaction from consumption of goods or service according to ordinary approach. Uh, Before we proceed, you recall that we've pointed out that ordinalists developed in different curve and the budget line to ascertain the point at which a consumer gets higher satisfaction. So before we go to the point at which a consumer gets maximum satisfaction based on the level of his income, let's quickly refresh our brain on what is marginal rate of substitution along with budget line. This is indifference table here. This is indifference table here. If you look at this indifference table now, a consumer is consuming loaves of bread and cup of tea simultaneously, and the at this first combination he consumes 10 loaves of bread and 2 cups of tea, which give the same satisfaction as we have it on the second combination, that is we have 5 loaves of bread and 3 cups of tea. So the satisfaction the man gets from this first combination is also what he gets from the second combination. It's also what he gets on the third combination. It's also what he gets on the fourth combination. And when you look at it now, for him to, from the first point now, for him to get an extra unit of cup of tea, he forgoes 5 loaves of bread. Then this third combination, for him to get this third combination, he forgoes 2 of loaves of bread to get extra 1 of cup of tea. If you see what he forgoes at the initial stage, it's not up to what he forgoes at the second stage. And when you see what he forgoes here again, when he gets 2 loaves of bread and a 5 cup of tea, it's not up to what he forgoes in the previous one. You can see. So as he's taking more of a commodity, what is foregoing is reducing. That is why we say marginal rate of substitution is diminishing. And when you look at this a budget line, the budget line shows the total commodities which a consumer can afford based on the level of his income. If you look at this consumer now, this consumer is earning $10. It means that whatever he's going to purchase now will be constrained by this $10. It cannot exceed this $10. So now look at this now. The price of loaves of bread, which is represented as X, is $2. Then a cup of tea is $1. So that is what we are representing a cup of tea as Y. Now look at it now. When you multiply the price of loaves of bread by the units of loaves of bread plus the price of cup of tea by the unit of cup of tea consumed, is going to give you $10. It must not exceed $10. Now that's why it's budget line. This shows what he can afford. If you look at it now, this man consumes $5 here. Sorry, 5 loaves of bread here, and he has $10. So if you say 5 loaves of bread multiplied by the price of loaves of bread, which is $2, going to be $10. He has exhausted the income on loaves of bread alone, so he cannot consume any of the cup of tea. That's why it's 0 here. Cup of tea is 0. Now that is point A. Point B, when this man wants to get more cup of tea, he reduces the consumption of loaves of bread so that he's going to be paying $8 now, because he's consuming 4 loaves of bread. He's going to be paying $8. Now when he's paying $8, what happens to a cup of tea? He can afford to buy 2 cups of tea here. That is point B, 2 cups of tea. And when he wants more cups of tea, what happens here? He reduces what he consumes for this loaves of bread. Now you can see he's going to be paying on these 3 loaves of bread. He's going to be paying $6. Then you'll be having extra of a change of $4. That $4 will now go for 4 cups of tea. That is why point C is here. Then when you see, now he reduces loaves of bread again to 2. Now 2, he's going to be paying only $4 here. The remaining $6 can go for 6 cups of tea. 6 cups of tea. This D supposed to be here, supposed to be here. This D supposed to be here. That is 6 cups of tea. Now, this show all these points now, A, B, C, D. They shows the points at which a consumer can fully utilize his income. Now, what are we talking about now? We are looking at optimal point of consumer now. Now, for a consumer to maximize his satisfaction from consumption of goods or service, they must follow this condition. Number 1, indifference curve should be tangent to budget line. What do you mean by indifference curve should be tangent to budget line? It means that the indifference curve, that is from this indifference table, must, one of these combination here that gives the same level of satisfaction must be able to be afforded, by the consumer. So it means this $10 must be able to buy one of these combinations here. So the point at which the dollar can buy one of these combinations here is the point of uh, optimal satisfaction, is the point at which a consumer gets maximum satisfaction. That is the point of uh, that is the optimum point of the consumer. So the point at which a consumer can afford any of the combinations that gives him the same level of satisfaction is the point at which he gets higher satisfaction. If you look at it now, the money he has now cannot afford this first combination. He has $10. And he's consuming $10, 10 loaves of bread. 10 loaves of bread alone, the $10 cannot even afford this 10 loaves of bread, because a loaf of bread is $2. He's going to be paying $20 here, so he doesn't have the money. Even look at this one, five uh loaves of bread. That will be 5 times 2, that is $10. Then to buy three now, this will be giving 1 times 3, that's $3. That will give you $13. You need $13 to get this combination here. So you cannot get this combination based on the income, which is $10. You cannot get this combination based on the income, which is $10. Then look at this one now. When he's consuming 3 loaves of bread now, which is 3 times 2, which is $6, then he has remaining $4. The $4 can go for 4 cups of tea. So it seems, you can see now, even without using cup now, we can simply see that this is the point. This point now, consumer can afford it, and this satisfaction is getting here is also what he's getting from other combinations. So he can easily buy this to get higher satisfaction, to get that satisfaction from his income. Let's quickly look at this table now. If you look at this table now, if you look at the table here, you see our indifference curve. If you see our indifference curve, and if you see it now, the indifference curve is tangential. It relies on the budget line here. It touches budget line here. And if you look at the point at which it touches budget line, three, three loaves of bread, which is X, it means that it's going to be paying $6 here. And at this point again, when you see the cup of tea, which is Y, it's going to be paying the remaining $4 from $10 can go for this 4. You can see it's at this point now. Is at this point the man maximizes his satisfaction. Is at this point he maximizes his satisfaction. So that is the exact point at which uh, maximum points is achieved. Then the one thing you should go on with here is that when you say a curve, indifference curve should be tangent, should be tangent budget line. It means that your indifference curve, part of, or a combination out of all combinations that give you the same level of satisfaction, must be able to be purchased by the level of your income. So any point, any combination that your income can afford out of all of these combinations that give the same level of satisfaction, that is the point at which maximum satisfaction is achieved. And that point is called optimum point of consumer. And that point again is a point at which indifference curve uh, is tangential to budget line. So any point at which your income can afford, that is the point at which the indifference curve is tangential to budget line. So to wrap it up now, the indifference curve, budget line, and the marginal rate of substitution are used by ordinalists to locate the point at which a consumer can get highest point of satisfaction based on the level of his income. And any of the combinations that give the same level of satisfaction that can be purchased by the level of the income of the consumer, that is the point at which optimum point of consumer is achieved. And that point alone is also a point at which indifference curve is tangential to budget line. And this last one, which is slope of indifference curve must equal the slope of budget line, this is not always necessary. So it's not always necessary, but the main point is that indifference curve should be tangential to budget line. That is, one of the combinations must be able to be afforded by the income, by the consumer, based on the value of his income. Thank you.